afternoon, viewers, and welcome to another episode of the Home Economics Show where we create the standard. This month marks a year that we started showing the Home Economics Show on your favorite channel. And to climax our activities, we'll be talking to a retired lecturer from the Home Economics Department at the University of Education, Winneba, Dr. Adelina Efie Arkhurst. She will share with us her experiences through life, how she came about studying the course, what she has learned, and then the test bit for us as we also study the course. She taught me in undergrad, yes. And we used to call her gorgeous. She said that you always have to enhance the good parts when you dress up and then camouflage the not so good parts. So that should let you know, yes, she was a clothing lecturer, and we always had fun with her class, and we dressed on point. So I won't talk too much. Yes, I'll just hand over to her and then she'll tell us everything.
Hello, good afternoon. Adelina Arkhurst is my name. Born some 76 years ago. My primary school was at Arkhurst Methodist School. Now, Arkhurst Secondary Technical, I think. I attended Wesley Girls 65. Graduated June 65, and September 65, I came to do the diploma in home economics education. Actually, I came by home economics by accident because my father died when I was only 9, and the child's mind, I felt he could have been saved. So I told myself I'll be a nurse so that I take care of people. But in April 65, before we wrote our GC O level, the head of department, one Australian, Miss Efie from Australia, then Specialist Training College, went around the country talking to the final year students of home economics about the diploma course here. Our home economics teacher then, one Mrs. Ewa, encouraged us, 6 of us, to come and write the exam. So we came and wrote the exam in April before we wrote our GC. When we came, they were taking only 10, but there were 120 candidates, including home science teachers. I remember that secondary school came with their home ec teacher, there were 4 teachers. So when we went back after the exam, we told the headmistress, oh, they won't take us because there were teachers and there were too many of us. They wanted only 10. Well, when the Lord's hand is on your life, He directs where you should go. So the 6 of us who came from Wesley Girls, I got straight admission. 3 were given waiting lists. Then we wrote our exams June, and I went to, when I told my mom had traveled, was out of the country. When I told my uncle about it, she just laughed that I couldn't talk. How can somebody who can't talk be a teacher? But then finally he agreed and signed the bond for me before my mom came back. I had already filled this form for Wesley Girls and APAM because my friends were APAM. But as I said earlier, the Lord wanted me where He put me. So I came to write the exam. I came in September 1965. And I have never regretted doing that program. When I came, there were only a few in each of the classes. The first batch, there were 10 or 12. The second batch that we met on campus, the 66, they were only 4. The 67s were, I think, 12, and the 68s were 12, and the 69s, my group, we were 10. And because the departments was built for about 12 in a class, but so we had all the fun. Then it was the Specialist Training College. We were fed free. They bought the and it was good. We we enjoyed the course. As a matter of fact, I knew how to sew. If I started sewing when I was in Form 1, before I went to Wesley Girls. And the first week we came, Miss Fia was teaching us drafting. And within that first week, everybody was able to draft her own uniform because we came on Friday. Monday when we went to class, we didn't even know our results then. She brought the list and sorted us out. And from Monday to Friday, we were able to draft our uniform. And it was, the teachers were helpful and everybody enjoyed what we were doing. In fact, my class, all of us, except one, because of ill health, was retained in the second year. So we lost one at the end of the second year. But when we went to third year, one who had gone to deliver joined us. So we came to the 10 original number. And then also the practice house was in one of the bungalows opposite the department. So we went in groups of 5 and we had more practical work. And apart from the practical aspect in the classroom, during the holidays, we were advised to attach ourselves to either a caterer or a dressmaker. And they were supposed to report on our activities during the period. So it wasn't just a matter of just coming to report on anything that you did, which you are supposed to have done that you didn't do anyway. And teaching practice too, we used to go for teaching practice in the primary schools in the second year. And then third year, first year, I think second year. Then third year, we go to middle school. I remember we went to Swedru JHS Methodist. And one funny thing happened. Mrs. Nsaku, the Lord bless her soul. Betty was one of us, was teaching, and she was busy. Those on my right. Meanwhile, she was showing the left hand. It's some of these incidents help you to remember what you did. And I remember my first teaching practice. It was a biology lesson at Don Bosco, and it was on the circulation of the blood. And the chemistry master, Mr. Sisk, I think the name was, I drew the circulation through the blood on the floor before the lesson. And I remember it was a very good lesson. Even the little children understood the whole thing. So after the oxygenated blood had gone around, I'll give them the blue card for the oxygenated, and they change over when it comes back to the heart to go around again. And I remember there are certain lessons that come out good, and you will never forget those lessons. I also went to Fansiman. 2 of us went to Fansiman for teaching practice. And then we had end of year dinners. And the home economic students were involved because it was the college dinner. We were involved in just helping with the serving, and I happened to be at the high table my final year because I gave the vote of thanks. And, late Mrs. Tando too was then the head of department. And anything you do, the way Mrs. Tando, the teachers will encourage you, and they were proud of us as a product. Because when we go out, the result, the comments that come out to make us feel really good. I happened to be posted to Wesley Girls straight from here. And then we used to form our posting forms in April, even before we write our exams. So I knew I was posted to my alma mater before I even wrote my exam in June. When I went back to Wesley Girls, the headmaster, most of the teachers knew me, and they welcomed me. They were so proud that that year 4 old girls went back to Wesley Girls. And it was good. When I went to Wesley Girls my first year, I started a clothing club because I noticed, being in my own school, I knew the full students were quite many. But there were only 3 or 4 or at most 12 students who opted for clothing. So I started a clothing club, and quite a number of the students opted to do clothing, 45. What happened was during the club, I discussed with the headmistress. She bought the fabrics for them, and we all sewed different things. Then culotte was the fashion, and we had the fashion parade one Saturday evening. That was what encouraged them for so many of them to choose clothing. And unfortunately, I got married, and at the end of the year, I transferred to Abuja to be near my husband. But so far, it's been good. In fact, after teaching for 12 years, I got a scholarship to do a master's in Australia and came back. It was just the same time that the diploma colleges were converted to university. So I came back to teach here as a lecturer. I've gone through the mill. We were tutors during the STC time, then the lecturer, senior lecturer, and then after the masters, I came back, taught for some time, went back to Nigeria, University of Nigeria, to do the PhD. In fact, I started the PhD here, but I had 4 professors, none of whom in my subject area. So I transferred to University of Nigeria, came back 2004, and I've been head of department from STC time to whatever, and I've served on a number of committees in the university, and retired 2005, but I was kept on for contract for 6 years, so I finally retired 2012. But apart from the teaching, I also use home economics too. I was a chief examiner for WIRE for some time, and when the National Accreditation Board was established, I was the first chairman for committee chairman for fashion. We went around the country to help settle some of the polytechnics especially, and now the universities also. Well, I've supervised quite a number of hundreds of master students throughout the period, and I'm taking it easy now at home after retirement. So far, I'm happy, as I said earlier, that I did the course, because home economics is a subject that I think not only the girls should do it. I remember when I was at Laboni Secondary School, I tried to encourage the boys to do home economics. They weren't too comfortable with it. I remember our former registrar, Dr. Arkhurst, he always, when I came back from Nigeria with the PhD, I started the Home Economic Research Association, our first conference. The VC was there, the registrar was there, and the registrar told us that I was, in fact, at Labon, I was the form mistress for the science students, and he happened to be one of them. So when he came, he was so excited to see me, that there, and he said that he loved my teaching, because apart from being their form mistress, advising them, anytime any of my students came to the department, well dressed, especially, their shoes buckled, shirts buttoned, hair nicely kept, I'll give them a cookie or something. So they will make sure that whenever they are well groomed, then they will come and visit me in the home economics department. So he made reference to all these, that I encouraged them in, whatever they wanted to do, and he was happy to meet me here again. And he said that what he didn't like about me was that I insisted, I encouraged the boys to come and do home economics. Initially, he didn't see the point why the male students should do home economics. But later on, even when he got married, he realized that even when you lose a button, your shirt loses a button, it becomes useful if you know these little things to do in the house. And then as a woman, you are supposed to be the homemaker. Unfortunately, our tradition in Ghana, they expect the women to do the housework, cooking and things like that. But if the men also know how to cook, for example, my husband knows how to cook very well, but he won't do it when I'm around. Some some will do it, and even the house chores, like removing capsules from the ceiling and things like that. It may not be very comfortable for the woman to do it, but if the man is around and doesn't mind, he can help. Some men don't mind helping to cook or even clean the house. When I had my first baby, my husband used to help with washing the baby's nappies. We used to buy nappies, not diaper. My grandmother visited and she was livid. Efie, who could not hold banana napkins? And meanwhile, when you are sleeping, that's the worst part. But if we understand the family, the welfare of the family, a man can, now we have washing machines, so, the man can help or even change the diapers. And quite a number of men are now doing that, which is good. But apart from working as a home economics teacher or in different areas, now we are in different, apart from the classroom, we are in different areas. As a woman and as a mother or as a human being in the house, when you have, it helps you to acquire so many skills that you can use commercially. For example, I started baking Rockies when I was at Labone Secondary School for the department, to generate money for the department. And then I realized when I came back to SCC, I baked for sale that one was for my own business. And it helped a great deal financially. And I had, my house helped to learn how to bake. And there were two of them who are baking commercially still, and it's helping. I know there are quite a number of home economists who are sewing. Some of my students, I taught clothing. They didn't go anywhere else to learn how to sew. Just up to O-level clothing. They are able, I have 3 in Accra who are sewing commercially and big-time dressmakers. Foods and clothing, it's easy to commercialize them. But management, now we can so manage like now with I know Accra they have agencies who prepare households for people, and they are very expensive when you hire them. They train them in. I know Mrs. Francois was doing something like that. One of our lecturers, Sophia, went to help her for some time, which is good. And when I was at Wesley Girls, I was there for 1 year. I stayed in the practice behind my house. I had a backyard, just vegetables. When we were students here, the practice we used to have plots, vegetable gardens, and apart from the flowers, we had different plots, and you prepare something which when we harvest, we use them at the practice house. And the practice house idea was to prepare you for entertaining or hospitality sort of. And quite a number of home economists are now in big time business catering. Some are even running restaurants, like we have how do you call that place? Dawa and other places I know. So home economics, I think, is a subject that financially, socially, it helps the family. I used to sew all my children. I have a boy, 2 girls and a boy. I used to sew their dresses. In fact, my first child is a dentist now. She used to sew her own things. She did clothing. In fact, both girls went to Fancy and did clothing first 3 years. But the first one, because she was a science student, it became difficult for her to combine the two. She's a dentist now, and my baby too did clothing at Fancy. They sold their own things, except that now they are too busy to. But if you have an idea of sewing yourself, you know what looks good on you as a woman. You know your figure. so that you don't just buy any style or sew any style because it looked good on Linda. So the same thing for me. Meanwhile, I used to be very slim. Now I've blown up, double my size. So there are certain styles that I wouldn't go near. And then even hairstyles. You have a long face and you see somebody with a style and you make your face even look longer. So we learn, I mean, what suits your face, your figure, and even the occasion. I can confidently say now the fashion has become something else. But I can still confidently say that the university students, the best dressed students come from the home economics department because we teach them good grooming the first year when they come. And also because we teach them the nutrition they do, they eat better apart from finances being a problem. They take better care of themselves on campus, and then when they go out to take better care of their families and also use their skills for helping others in not only in their homes but in the churches. For example, I'm a Methodist here, and most of the activities in the church, you help give talks, and also if there's any program that needs activities that like catering and things like that. Conference, we are hosting conference in Winneba this year, Methodist Church, and I know that I'm always the chairman of the catering. I mean, so it's a subject that helps you plan and budget within your income and live healthy, live well, and to be well groomed all the time. I remember there was a day, it was either Easter or Christmas, and my also for paying said, "Oh, Mrs. Arkhurst, you look good," and I just said, "Oh, make my life for to glorify God." And just last week, when I was very down after the funeral when I came back home, and one of the lecturers called me, and she could sense from my voice that I was crying. So she said, Mrs. Arkhurst, what is happening? I said, oh, I just didn't tell her exactly what was wrong, but she talked and I said, it said sometime that she saw me, and then she still always remembers what I said that day. I had forgotten. I asked her what, and I said, we free the our life say I'm so well, I'm a home economist, so what else can I do? And I think even the way you dress, the way you present yourself, your grooming tells a lot about you. And I know a number of people in my church and in Winneba Town respect me for my presentation. I mean, and I know home economics has a lot to do with it. And I'm proud that I am a home economist and a practical one too. I'm old, but I remember somebody teasing me. I used to be very fussy. You know, my father comes from Cape Coast, and I was brought up as a girl, a proper lady. When you wear a dress, you should wear a hat and shoe, not slippers like what I'm wearing now. And I went to the department after I retired. There was a program that I went there, and I was limping. I wasn't using the walking stick then. And some of the students, when they were shouting, gorgeous, gorgeous, I said, I'm no more gorgeous because look at what I wear. And they laughed. That the way I was very particular about it, Rabba, when you dress up, you should wear a dress, you should wear a proper shoe and not slippers or sometimes, those funny taliwati things outside. But it's good. And I know that some of even the male students who came to the department, there are quite a number who are doing well, catering and helping their families financially as well. So this is it. And I think it's a subject, if possible, at the basic level, when they change the curriculum. I remember we were at Ejumako and art and home economics were in the same team. If Dr. I've forgotten the artist, we went there, they would have deleted home economics and art completely. But the way we justified why it should be there and even for everybody to do it, it helped to save a subject on the curriculum. So I hope that we can continue to do better with home economics in this country. And we need it now, because quite a number of people, and I would say women, we buy any funeral that doesn't even relate to them, they will go and buy. Meanwhile, they haven't budgeted for that kind of thing. They will go and buy, and meanwhile, they haven't paid their children's school fees. But if you are a well-trained home economist, you know you have to budget. You don't just do any impulse buying because everybody is wearing, so I should wear it. I have quite a number of my things in my wardrobe that I like the fabric, but maybe the style has gone out of fashion. Even though I don't sew much these days, I remodel it. And the same thing goes for wedding or for whatever, because the fabric is so good, and or I give it to my house help or anybody who can make good use of it. So home economics, if it's just that when you die, that's the end. But if I should go and come back in another world, I think I will so opt for home economics.
Welcome back, viewers. I hope you enjoyed the interaction we had with Dr. Adelina Efie. I had fun listening to her. I felt like I was moving with her from when she started school, coming to do the diploma, the specialist training college, right through going back to Wesley Girls, her alma mater, giving back to society. I had fun. In fact, I've enjoyed everything and have been inspired, and I hope you have also been inspired to share the good news about home economics. I hope that you have been encouraged that once you study the course, you don't just study it like a course, like the way some people study some course and once they are done, they don't even understand what they learned. But home economics makes you whole because it trains your heart, the hands, and then the head. And I believe that through that you've learned a lot. You've learned the positions that she took, being part of the clothing committee with the National Accreditation Board, helping the curriculum to grow. And the fact that once you even learn the course, you can remodel your dresses easily. So I don't need to really give your clothes out unnecessarily. I believe you have been inspired. I don't even know how to. I'm just so excited. Of course, I'm happy. I mean, she taught me. Come on, guys. So until we come again your way again with another episode, I'm just so happy. I'm just making mistakes. This is the Home Economics Show where we create the standard. See you next week.